Good afternoon. Welcome to the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's County, October 13th, 2022 meeting. As we prepare to open the meeting, here are some of the guidelines. This public hearing is being televised live on St. Mary's County Government TV 95 and the county's YouTube channel. It will remain available for on-demand viewing on the St. Mary's County Governmental YouTube channel. My name is David Willenborg. I'm the chairman. To my right is member Richard Shen, our administrator, Tammy Hildebrand, and to her right is Chris Beaver, our attorney. To my left is member Watts and Barbara Hill. And in the audience, we have Sergeant Myers, who is our alcohol enforcement coordinator. First thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
And a second. Any final discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Next thing is approval of the minutes from September 8th, 2022. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve the September 8th minutes as written.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from September 8th. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a first, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Old business, extension of conditional approvals. Sunset Cove, Patrick Sean Craig requesting a 90-day extension of conditional approval. Please come forward and be sworn in.
Here or there?
Swear in there.
Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Please state your name and address.
Craig, 16244 Millers Wharf Road, Ridge, Maryland, 20680.
Okay. You can come forward and have a seat if you'd like.
Do you mind if I approach to give each one of you?
Go right ahead, sir. Go ahead and present your application.
Yep.
These are just photos.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I just wanted you guys to see, I don't know if you remember the old building that was there, but it was a lot of work, so it ended up being a total redo gut job for me. I've had a very hard time getting labor down south, so I just wanted you to see how far we've gone. And we need, probably past the holidays, at least to get through. It seemed like just trying to get labor down there has been very difficult, so I find myself doing most of the construction myself. But I'm trying to do a really good job. We took the marina over. It was on its last leg, and we pretty much saved it from the graveyard, and that's been also taking a lot of my time as far as the daily hours go. But I wanted to show you guys how good we're trying to do as far as the restaurant goes. We're pretty much doing everything new inside.
And you think, well, so you have all the approvals you need, from the county and everything.
So yeah, I just got to,
need more time
occupancy
to secure
permit.
labor,
Yeah, I just
right?
need time to finish up. UNO, I can't until I finish. And then the health department, they want a full menu and they come in and test it. So equipment backlog, you name it, I've been hit with it. This guy's honest truth. And so this is my last project. I'm older, so I'm going to do a really good job.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So I'm going to retire right there.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just need just a little bit more time, and I think right after the holidays, it should be okay.
Okay. Is this your first request for extension, or?
Yes,
Okay.
my first.
Actually, I have been there, and it looks like
Have
it's
you?
coming along. Yep.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Can you see the progress?
Yeah.
Good. It's the whole property, so it's 30 acres, and it was abandoned boats and wash machines in that dirt. It was just a whole bunch of cleanup. So it was a big task, bigger than I thought I was getting into, but we're getting in a good spot right now.
I got there by accident. I was looking for 450 and
Oh, you were?
and then I just,
How'd you like it?
looks like it's coming along.
It's nice down there.
Yeah.
It's peaceful, very peaceful down
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that's why I picked it.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of the job so far?
It's
It
beautiful.
looks really nice.
Good.
Yep.
Glad to hear.
Any questions?
Nothing
Do we have a
further.
motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve extension of provide conditional approval of the extension for Sunset Cove 2 for 90 days for Mr. Patrick Sean Craig.
Thank you.
Yep. I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Good luck.
Thank you guys
You
very
want these
much.
back?
Nice seeing everybody again.
Back?
No, they're yours.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
He's doing an awesome job.
Okay, new business. Applications, third base, application for, I'm going to get this wrong, aren't I? Hold on. Is it Pravin? Patel? Pravin Kumar Patel and Elizabeth M. Stewart to transfer to third base ADITYA LLC, Class A1 beer wine liquor license from SEMA and Elizabeth, and Gulati and Elizabeth M. Stewart, and trade as Third Base LLC, 28085 Point Lookout Road, Loveville, Maryland. Please come forward and be sworn in.
Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth? Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Ravi Kumar Patel, 4050 Derico Place, White Plains, Maryland 20695.
Okay,
Elizabeth M. Stewart, 28995 Point Lookout Road, Leonardtown, Maryland, 20650.
And I'm Daniel Slade. I'm the attorney for Third Base LLC, Mr. Patel and Ms. Stewart, handling this matter.
okay. Please come forward and have a seat.
Welcome. Go ahead and present your application. And you did not swear in, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, want to make sure. Okay.
Good afternoon, board members, Mr. Chairman. Again, my name is Dan Slade. I represent Third Base LLC, Mr. Patel and Ms. Stewart, for the transfer of their A1 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Patel has been in the business before, not here. He's never had a liquor license, but he worked in a liquor store. And we went over we think we dotted the i's and crossed the t's on the application. There's a few things that we're asking for conditional approval today because we have to get done. They're planning on going to settlement on October 31st. So they can, the transfer would be, we'd pick up, ask for the license after that. They need the health department approval. They need the occupancy permit, fire marshal, and the trader's license, all in the process. All in processing. I talked to Mr. Patel and Ms. Stewart. They understand the rigors and responsibilities of having a liquor license. Again, Mr. Patel had a license. I talked to him about the pitfalls of not following the rules and regulations, and he said, well, in Illinois, they're very stringent too. We follow the rules. We've already started the process of getting WeCard to come in there every month, not only to test Mr. Patel and Ms. Stewart, but more importantly, to test the employees when they're not there. So they take their responsibilities fully and very seriously, and we just ask that you accept, under a conditional basis, the transfer of the license under those conditions. We'd ask for 60 to 90 days to have everything completed.
Okay.
Is there any questions you would like to ask?
Board members?
For Tammy, is there anything in the application that's conditional
Yeah,
or? needs
just
to be
as
taken place?
Mr. Slade said, we need a copy of their traders, their UNO, health departments, fire marshal, proof of closing, obviously, we got to close the deal, and also proof of trade name registration, and that's it.
And those are all processing currently.
So they need
Okay.
everything.
The store is going to be set up the way it was set up before? No changes there?
That's my understanding. Mr. Patel, you're not going to change the design of the store, are you?
Yeah, we cannot change.
Cannot change? Okay, they're going to keep it the same.
Okay. Very good.
So Tammy, I mean, I'm used to doing, conditional approvals when we usually have a few things outstanding, but I mean, this sale hasn't even completed yet. It seems a little
We've done that.
unusual.
We've done that. Usually they're not allowed to sell until after you approve the transfer of the license. Then usually the closing's like the day after.
Okay.
Theirs is out a little bit. But yeah, we've done it before.
Okay.
We've done it before.
Okay.
And I apologize for that. Part of that, I had a medical issue, so we had to push the settlement out a little bit to help them dot the i's and cross the t's, and it was on me. So
Okay.
don't think that Mr. Patel and Ms. Stewart weren't working hard and diligently. They were. We just had to dot the i's and cross the t's and go to settlement.
Barbara?
I'm good.
Richard?
No question.
Richard? No?
No, I don't think I had anything further.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yes, just, I can make the motion, but I just want to, first, so we need health, UNO, traders, license, the fire marshal, trade name, and
Health Department.
final, yeah, I said health, and completion of
Closing.
closing. Okay. All right, and you think 60 days is enough, sir?
It should be, but we'd ask for 90 just in case.
You give them the 90
Well, good, we can go and do that
Does 90 days start from the time of the sale or from?
today.
today.
Day.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll go ahead and make the motion then for the approval for a 90-day conditional for the application of Pravin, now you get to laugh at me.
Pravin Kumar Patel.
His names, Pravin Kumar Patel and Elizabeth Stewart to transfer third base ADITYA LLC Class A1 beer, wine, liquor license from Seema Julati and Elizabeth M. Stewart and trade as Third Base LLC, located at 28085 Point Lookout Road in Loveville, Maryland, 20656. That approval is conditional upon Health Department, UNO, trader's license, fire marshal, completion of the trade name application, and completion of the closing of the sale. And again, that's a 90-day conditional approval.
Okay, we have a motion.
And I'll second that.
Richard Chin seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Honorable Board, that's all the business I have for this honorable commission. Might be excused.
Yes, you-
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Any licensee, applicant for a license, or group of not less than 10 persons who are residents or real estate owners in the district of which the licensed place of business is located or proposed to be located may, within 30 days from the date of any final decision of the board in approving, suspending, revoking, restricting, or refusing to approve, suspend, revoke, or restrict any license or licensee, appeal such a decision to the Circuit Court for St. Mary's County. The appellant shall be required to pay in advance a sum of money reasonably estimated to cover the expense of transcribing the hearing of the decision being appealed. Sorry. Next on the list, premise changes. Jerry LaRoe requesting an extension of premises of approximately 1,000 square feet for a two-story addition for kitchen and seating. Please come forward and be sworn in.
Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Geraldine LaRue, 41635 Camelier Drive in Leonardtown, Maryland, 20650.
Okay, please come forward and have a seat.
Go ahead and present your application.
We have grown considerably, and we've got more needs for a bigger kitchen, which was basically non-existent. And so we were going to bump out on the left side of Bruder Garden as you look at it from the back, and add 520 square feet per floor. So the bottom 520 square feet would be for the extension of a kitchen and facilities, bathroom facilities within the Bruder Garden, and stairs to go upstairs. The upstairs is going to be additional seating, but it's not really going to expand more because the current upstairs area is going to be converted to storage. We need to confine everything in that one building. So it's an addition of 1,000 square feet, but there's the part that's upstairs currently that is not going to be used for seating. I think it's an increase of about 15 more additional persons.
And so I was looking through your drawings this afternoon, and I was just kind of I'm familiar with the establishment, but so I was trying to exactly kind of figure out where, in the first diagram, there's the door there. That looks like it just goes in and out of the kitchen, and then I'm trying to kind of also wrap my head around exactly how you're expanding. Are you expanding into the courtyard, or you're expanding into
Towards the street.
towards the street? So you're going towards the sidewalk, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's going to be the same. Okay, I think I understand now. And then the new bathrooms and everything, that's going to be on the
That's going to be downstairs.
downstairs, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's not going to be any seating in the upstairs anymore? That's going to
There is.
Okay.
So in the original upstairs, from the original drawing,
Right.
there was an upstairs area that seated maybe about 12 people. So that's going to be changing to a storage room.
Okay.
And then the 520 square feet on the second floor of the addition
Okay.
will
Will
be
be-
seating for
Gotcha.
the 12 that was over there that's gone now. So that maximum, I think, is 31 people.
Okay.
So it's an addition of about 15 additional people
Okay.
for seating space.
And then so the only way in and out of the upstairs is going to be through a single stairway that's monitored? Okay.
Yes.
And then, so no changes to the entrance, right?
No.
Okay.
No, the entrance is going to be where the original entrance is.
Okay, and then your courtyard's still going to retain the fence that exists
Yes.
around it, and, okay. And then this other door that looks like it goes into the kitchen?
Yes, that's the,
An alarms door? Is
yes,
that-
it will be. And that's really where the employees are supposed to come around, but that door had to be there just for egress.
Sure, sure. Okay, yep. And then the upstairs area is, well, I guess it doesn't necessarily matter if it's served or unserved, because there's only one way in and out, right? So,
Right. You mean the new upstairs?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
That'll be the same as what it is now. There will be somebody that goes up, and we all obviously have a camera
okay,
that monitors the upstairs just like we do now. But people have to come into that one door to get either upstairs or anywhere in Bruder Garden.
Roger. Okay, excellent. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I didn't have any further questions.
Barbara?
No, I think he covered it all.
No axe throwing, right?
I'm sorry?
Just kidding. No axe throwing?
Axe throwing in beer, what could go wrong?
Okay. Any questions besides that? Okay, sir.
This will be, she has conditions, obviously, she hasn't broken ground yet, so the town council, the town commissioners have approved her plan, but she will need her final UNO, which requires also the health department approval, fire marshal approval, and the comptroller has put a hold to get your taxes up to date with them. So
They have?
Yeah, they've, something new they're doing.
Health, fire,
They-
controller.
Yep, health, fire, comptroller, and UNO.
So the controller is a current one that they've done, or that has to be, okay, I need to call my,
Just give me a call tomorrow.
yeah, because we
Forward
pay it
account.
monthly,
Yeah, yeah.
so I
So
really,
some kind of filing is off. They don't give me a lot of detail. They just say, hold it.
yeah, but I'd like to know, because I know the money comes out of our account every month.
Give me a yell tomorrow. I'll give you the lady's contact.
Was that?
I'll give you her contact info.
Please do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I can make a motion.
Go ahead.
All right, we'll do 90 days.
Yes, please, yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion for a 90-day conditional approval for the, this is a permanent request of extension of approximately 1,000 square feet for a 2-story addition for kitchen and seating to the Bruder Garden. Licensee is Geraldine LaRue. It's conditional on UNO, Health Department approval, Fire Department approval, and comptroller clearance. And again, it's a 90-day conditional approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
And I'll second that.
First, second, any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
None? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the growth. That's
Yeah.
good to hear.
Wonderful.
That's it, though.
Sure it is.
Yes.
What did you say?
Sure it is.
Any licensee, applicant for a license or group of not less than 10 persons who are residents or real estate owners in the district in which the licensed place of business is located or proposed to be located may within 30 days from the date of any final decision of the board in approving, suspending, revoking, restricting, or refusing to approve, suspend, revoke, or restrict any license or licensee appeal such a decision to the Circuit Court of St. Mary's County. The appellant shall be required to pay in advance a sum of money reasonably estimated to cover the expense of transcribing the hearing of the decision being appealed. Okay, next to the list, the Rex. Joseph Curley, Daniel Norris, Charles Breck, requesting an extension of premise of approximately 6,000 square feet and 2-story addition for event space. Please come forward and be sworn in.
That's huge.
Theater club.
Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth? I do. Okay, please state your names and the address for the record.
Warren Norris, 2680 Cedar Lane, 3408.
Joe Curley, 22531 Landing Way, Leonardtown, Maryland, 20650.
Charlie Breck, 23254 Jennifer Court, Leonardtown, Maryland.
Okay, please come forward and have a seat.
Please present your application.
We're asking for an extension of premise for closer to 5,000 square feet, add on to the business of the Rex.
And so, summary, you're extending into the old theater that sits directly behind the.
Correct. If you're familiar with our building at all, the right side of it is actually the lobby to the old theater. And then the left side was a liquor store, several other things over the years, and they've been conjoined. And the old theater has always sat back there. And that's one of the reasons we, chose the building years ago, is to eventually develop that into a multi-use event space. So we're at that point, and We've been plugging away, and we're almost there. It'll be for concerts and dueling pianos, comedy shows. It'll be available to rent for weddings, things for bass. Anybody wants to rent it out for a, party or anything. We're already actually booking things already, tentatively, but it should be a popular spot. It's got an old stage on it that was where the movie screen was, and the old balcony, and it's a beautiful building. The renovation's coming along nice.
Okay. So obviously there's other entrances on the backside there, looking at your diagram. What is your
More so exits.
use those entrances?
More so exits.
More so exit. Just
Yeah, there's an alleyway with an easement that goes between us and the cafe next door.
Okay.
And that could be a possible entrance. There's so many things going on in our business now with parties and events and everything. And then you got to imagine that sometimes there'll be two different things going on, maybe renting out the back and still having everything in the front that the Rex currently does. So we'll have an option. We'll be able to bring people down the side, maybe for rentals, and more so our events can go right through our restaurant now into the back there. But I think it's going to take a little entrepreneurship and figuring out.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's my only concern right now, that, I guess I'd like to see what that kind of final plan is going to be for, obviously, our concern is basically, the control of the alcohol within the facility, right? It's up to fire marshals and all those guys to worry about, safety and everything. From our concern is just, the control of alcohol in and out of the facility. And so from my perspective, I'd definitely like to see a plan for all of those entrances, right? Whether they're, security doors, whether they're monitored or alarmed, or whether you've got a physical staff there. Obviously, it would be, I can see where it'd be beneficial to you to be able to have for special events, another entry there. But, what would be the plan, for that? Whether it be a security guard or something.
Right. As of right now, those are all exits that you're seeing in the back.
Right.
And the license would extend from the back to the front of our restaurant. I brought with me my security, Jerome Burgess and his son Mike, both former Marines. Jerome worked with me at the Tiki Bar years ago, and kind of showed me the ropes of this business. And now his son is actually in private security, so they'll be monitoring the building. Jerome is not only just a great guy to have for security, but he's a good guy to show you how the people side of things go with security as well, with the different demographics we'll have and everything else. And his son getting into private security, it's a good fit. So right now the plan would be to have security on each one of those exits, and also at the base of where you're going from the Rex into the old theater. But we can draw up and show you anything you'd like to see.
Yeah, just, I know, well, when are you hoping to have this? How much further do you have on renovations? When are you hoping to start?
We're looking probably a month or two out. We'd be asking for a 90-day today.
Okay. Do you? Sorry, I'm thinking. Because obviously I don't want to. I don't want to be, part of this board that holds you up, right? But I think I would feel a little more comfortable in kind of fully understanding what the plan is for, movement of alcohol within the facility and the service of the facility, and, and what the security posture is for those exits, or again, whether.
I don't think it's anything any different than, the Rex up front or anything else.
Well, but you've got. It's a smaller area right now, right? And you only have really the one entrance and exit out to the street there in Leonardtown, and so it's a little bit easier to monitor, and you know what I'm saying. So, with these back, entrances, again, if it's alarmed or something like that, right, where somebody exits and it's an emergency exit only, and it's alarmed, so, nobody's, taking alcohol out into the back alley, or again, whether your plan is to have paid staff there 24/7, well, not 24/7, but, in your hours of operation, right? I guess
Yeah, depending on the
plan
event.
documented, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be certain events that will, weddings and everything, that you're not going to have security. But, yeah, that'll be up to us to post no alcohol past this point. Just like, it's just a large building, that's all. It's just like any other.
Correct. Yeah, no, it is. You're expanding, you're a larger building. I mean, it's exciting. It looks really cool.
I mean, we have 3 exits in the Rex right now, and this is 4 in the back theater. So it's just basics of monitoring your crowd and making sure you have people posted up and watching everything for you.
For entertainment, for stage.
So I guess what is the plan then for those doors? Are they going to be, like electronic security doors, right? Exit only?
There'll be exit-only doors, yeah. And, they're,
You open the door and alarm sounds kind of thing?
yeah, they're panic bars.
Right.
So, and then there will be, on busy nights, there'll be a security guard posted on each one. And they're spaced perfectly for that situation as well.
Okay. All right, so then I have no issue, from my perspective, making a motion for approval. If you can just update your application to indicate that that's the plan. Then just, a general note to Tammy, I think, to update the application. Tammy, was that sufficient?
Did you want,
I mean, I can make it conditional upon that, but is that sufficient for him to just add that those back exits will be
So you want a
alarmed
security-
doors?
some kind of written security plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Submitted,
Yes, ma'am.
and that would be one. that
Based
would
on what
be
he
one-
basically just said, what they're planning to do.
One
Right.
of your conditions?
That's fine.
Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
Sure. If that's what you need. Yes. Barbara?
And again, I'm kind of looking to the other board members as to your thoughts on this as well. Man, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself in the discussion time, but
I agree with him. I think, it's got to be something that's taken care of, one way or the other, either the doors or, like you say, if you're going to hire somebody that's going to be there when your events, you're going to have security there, so.
Right.
Right.
just
That's why I
needs to
brought
be-
them today.
Just needs to be clarified a little bit better.
Richard, any questions?
I'm just thinking here whether, I understand what we're trying to do, but at the same time, I'm thinking about, is this part of the requirement we've been issuing on all our applications? I realize we're talking about control of space here, right? But to what degree are we responsible to make sure that the owners, the licensee, are responsible to control that space? If that's going to be the requirement, then my recommendation is for different venues that you're going to have. Like, for example, if you are going to use back door as an entry for, you got 2 things going on, that you ought to write all that down, because if that changes, if that becomes a requirement, if it changes, I don't want you to get in trouble because, hey, you didn't write it down in your initial application. So it's like, to what detail are we going to get into in this? My recommendation is to ensure that you provide a positive way to make sure that you control those spaces, that the space defined for alcohol, serving alcohol is clear, and there's whatever venue you're going to use that space for, that it covers for all those use case scenarios.
Yeah, I think what's getting discussed now is just the idea of this being a large venue with a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
But holistically speaking, I feel like this is just like everything else. We have to show responsibility with the alcohol. And, I brought Jerome. Did you want to say something? Yes.
you'd need to be sworn in. You'd need to be sworn in. I can swear you in. Sure. Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and record, and address for the record.
Jerome Burgess, 21405 Carmen Woods Drive, Lexington Park, Maryland, 20653.
Okay,
Take a seat.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you. As Mr. Curley has said, the idea of having staff on board is the basic way that we intend to handle the facility for the most part. Given that we will be bringing staff on board, the main thing that we will do is provide training for them. We will establish a process and procedure for each event type, whether it be a private event, whether it be a public opening, the larger facility during events when that exit doors are primarily only going to be used for emergency situations. We will ensure that we have enough staff on board to monitor and control those exits and entrances, as the case may be. The notion that the facility will be utilized in such a way that we respect and honor the licensing that we have is clear, and we'll make sure that any staff that we bring aboard for these purposes will be trained in that and briefed on that each evening prior to, or any time prior to the event.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a perfect answer. I have no doubt in my mind, knowing you as a licensee, I have no doubt in my mind you guys have a plan.
And in fact,
I just like to see the plan on your application, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you can just add that plan to the application so that it's clear and articulate so we know what that plan is.
Yes.
It's certainly one thing for you guys to kind of tell us and us to nod our head in the vertical plane, but until it's articulated clearly on a piece of
In the
paper.
square, it doesn't
Exactly, it makes it a little bit more challenging, so.
Consider it done.
What's the difference?
Awesome.
So, yep.
Very good.
Yep, thank you.
I don't really see.
I have questions. So I'm not real familiar with the building. And this drawing, you're going to be expanding basically 3 times the size you have now in square footage that's going to actually be occupied.
The building already exists.
Oh.
That space is already there. What
Understand.
we'll be doing, what Mr. Curley is opting to do is utilize the space that's currently there.
I understand that. Is this a 2-story? Is there a second story to this?
No, there's a balcony.
Okay, just a balcony, and then,
It's an old movie theater.
It's a theater.
oh yeah, I just, there's a bowling alley on top of Duke's, who would ever thought, right?
Yeah,
So,
there is access to it through a stairwell at the back of the facility.
okay, and then the part that you're using now, is that stairs in this drawing?
Towards the back?
By the offices, yes.
Yes, that'll take you to the balcony.
That takes you to the balcony,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Very good. And so this is basically an event space.
Correct.
So when I go to your business on a Wednesday and there's no event going back here, I'm not going to have access to this space?
Correct.
Or I will not?
Will not.
Okay,
Will not.
okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Nope. I remember going there. I watched the movie there. This was way back when. It used to be called Ye Olde Restaurant, owned by Van Housen's.
I remember going there when it was still a real movie theater.
Yeah. It's a nice big space. Yeah, it's a
Rocky
nice-
Horror Picture Show showed there every week. Yep.
Some with a level floor, so it's all up, raised up, so
Yeah.
it's level.
In fact, the
Sometimes you can fall
floor
down.
goes down like this.
Used
So
to.
we took the slope out. Now
took the
it's
slope
a
out?
leveled
Okay.
floor, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, and if, it does well for Leonardtown too, because Leonardtown's an arts and entertainment district.
Yeah.
And with the ability to have plays back there and film festivals and everything else, it really does the town well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And conventions and corporate meetings will also be able to be hosted there as well.
Yeah, we'll have a drop-down screen if you want to do a PowerPoint presentation and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's an awesome use of space. I think I'm excited for you guys. It's going to be cool.
Mr. Willibor,
Yes.
last Friday, they had a big event in Leonardtown where it brought an enormous amount of people through. And throughout my tour of duty, I continuously drove by and noticed that there was adequate security at the wrecks, and they had a lot of people there, none of which were in the streets, hanging out here and there. So that's just giving you an observation from my standpoint.
Thank you.
I actually come from a security background. You know, I did the Tiki Bar for 15 years. Jerome and I were responsible. That place was like a cheese grater. I mean, you could just pour water. Where you could get in and out is absolutely. So it took a lot of discipline and.
Sure.
And yeah.
Yeah. No, again, I just want to reiterate, right? I knowing you as a licensee, right, and knowing your establishment, I absolutely have full faith and confidence that you guys are going to do the right thing, right? But just again, to do our due diligence, right? Let's just make sure that it's documented and put in the application. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Richard?
Nope.
What are the conditions for this?
Final health approval, final fire marshal approval, comptroller clearance, L-Town final UNO, and then you wanted a copy of the security plan.
Yes, but basically the security plan as it was briefed today to be attached to the application. Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
And 90 days, I'm assuming.
90 days.
Okay.
Do we have a motion from someone?
I can make the motion.
Go ahead.
So I'll make the motion for a 90-day conditional approval of the request of permanent extension of premises of approximately 6,000 square feet of the event space to the Rex, Joseph Curley, Daniel Norris, Charles Breck. That is conditional upon UNO, Health Department, Fire Department, Comptroller settlement, and the addition of the security plan as briefed today attached to the application. And again, that is a 90-day conditional approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
The first, second. Any final discussion?
Just again, like I said in the recommendation to you, Joe, and that go ahead and, for security plan, have both use cases to cover different things happening there, so.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. No other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Any licensee, applicant for license, or group of not less than 10 persons who are residents or real estate owners in the district in which the licensed place of business is located or proposed to be located may within 30 days from the date of the final decision of the board in approving, suspending, revoking, restricting, or refusing to approve, suspend, revoke, or restrict any license or licensee appeal such a decision to the Circuit Court for St. Mary's County. The appellant shall be required to pay in advance a sum of money reasonably estimated to cover the expense of transcribing the hearing of the decision being appealed. Okay. Moving into violations now. Tacos Hacienda, Ezekiel Herrera, the above individual, Ezekiel Herrera, was an employee of a license holder and sold or provided alcohol beverages to an individual under the age of 21 years in violation of 6-304 of the Alcohol Beverage Article of the Anti-Code Code of Maryland and 5.04J of the Rules and Regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's County. Please come forward and be sworn in.
They are not in the room. Susie's going to see if they're out in the lobby.
Okay.
She asked for this. She asked to be present.
No show.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to go to Ridgels Bay Mart, and then I can have Susie call tacos in the meantime?
Sure.
Okay.
Strike everything I said?
She was served directly, Tammy, and so was he.
She asked for this postponement. She was supposed to come here last month.
Right. Even with the new summons, I've served her directly.
Give them a call. Hang on.
Okay, Ridgels Bay Mart. Employee, Clayton Patrick Birch. The above individual, Clayton Patrick Birch, was an employee of a license holder and sold or provided alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21 years in violation of 6-304 of the alcohol beverage article of the Anacostia Code of Maryland and 5.04J of the rules and regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's County. Please come forward and be sworn in.
Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth? Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Clayton Patrick, 5849 Carefree Way, Park, Maryland, 653.
Okay, please have a seat.
Did these events take place?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Mr. Beaver, would you read the facts into the record?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The facts underlying this violation are as follows. On August 23rd, 2022, at approximately 6:15 p.m., St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office Alcohol Enforcement Unit sent a Sheriff's Office cadet, 18 years of age, into Ridgels Bay Mart, located at 16591 Three Notch Road in Ridge, Maryland, wearing jeans and an athletic shirt and without any identification. Once inside, the cadet retrieved one 12-ounce can of Monaco Black Raspberry cocktail and proceeded to the checkout counter. The cadet placed the alcoholic beverage on the counter for purchase, where the clerk, later identified as Mr. Clayton Patrick Birch, proceeded with the sale. Mr. Birch failed to ask the cadet for any identification for proof of age. The cadet completed the purchase of the sale of alcohol and exited the licensed premise with the alcoholic beverage. The cadet thereafter made contact with Corporal Patrick Handy and Deputy Stephen Myers of the Alcohol Enforcement Unit outside the licensed premise. The cadet described the sale of the beverages to the unit members and advised that the clerk had not asked for any identification. Thereafter, Corporal Handy and Deputy Myers entered the licensed premise, identified themselves, and informed Mr. Birch that he had sold an alcoholic beverage to an underage Sheriff's Office cadet without asking for identification or proof of age. Mr. Birch admitted that he had not asked the cadet for any identification prior to the purchase. Mr. Birch was informed by the officers that an offense report would be completed and that he and the licensees would be issued summonses to appear before this board. Photographs of the alcoholic beverage were taken by the officers and placed into evidence, and the alcoholic beverage disposed of. All of this occurred in St. Mary's County, Maryland.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Can you explain the circumstances, or?
I can try my best. During this event, I noticed the girl, the cadet, and we had a striking conversation, and it threw me off because they claimed that they knew me from grade school, and that event there alone threw me off because I figured, well, we're around the same age, or if not, she's older. And after that event, I realized, having the conversation, that I rung up the beverage, but forgot to ask for the ID before she left. And then moments later, within 5 minutes, I was notified that I sold to an underage cadet.
Okay. How long have you worked there?
I worked there for about, I want to say 4 months.
4 months. You still work there?
No, sir.
No. Questions? Board members?
Were you, since you've been employed with this employer, had you received training on identification, verification, and?
I have received, while I was working there, to ID everyone who looks young or possibly who is under 21, and I just failed to do it at the time.
Okay. And I believe you may have stated it, but if you could kind of state again, why did you fail to do it in this case?
Because we were having a striking conversation and it threw me off that I thought they were older.
Okay. You were led, I believe you stated that the person said they knew you from grade school.
Yes.
Did they indicate that they were in the same grade as you?
No.
Okay.
Sir, they did not.
Can I ask for clarification on when you said you were striking conversation, you're striking conversation with a cadet?
Yes, with the cadet.
Oh, okay. And you thought she was in the same
I thought
grade?
she was older than me, honestly.
Okay, but in terms of I'm trying to understand your explanation. So you said you had conversation with a cadet, and somehow you thought you were in the grade school together or something like that. That you guys were classmates, or like I'm trying to understand.
She brought up that we went to the same elementary school, and
Okay.
I was like, because I didn't remember the cadet at the time, but so I figured she must have been older if she knew me then. And then during the conversation, that's when she brought up the alcoholic beverage.
Okay, gotcha. Just trying to understand. Okay.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 19 years old.
You're 19? Okay.
Sir.
So, okay. So that's kind of where I was obviously trying to understand, right? If you were 25, it'd have been a little bit different. And so, so even though you've had the training that basically says, hey, it sounds like your employer asked you, they want you to ID everyone.
Yes.
And I mean, the thought just didn't cross your mind in this case because of the conversation, or?
Yes, the conversation distracted me during these events.
Okay. Have you had any other previous jobs where you were responsible for the sale of alcohol?
Mostly I was stocking, so no.
Mostly just stocking?
Yeah.
Okay, this was your first job doing this?
Besides my job at Birchmark, but that didn't have no alcohol to sell.
Okay.
Can I ask a question here?
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm hearing a little, can you describe a little bit more about your training? Because what I heard from you was that the owner told you to go ahead and check IDs if they look 21 and older.
The owner, we had the date on the bottom of the counter where if you check their ID and it tells you when they're basically, if they're born before that age or after, they're 21 or not. And we got trained to do this by multiple times by just random people, because we had issues where if someone would come in and they'd try to buy alcohol or buy cigarette products or anything like that, it would be underage, and we would card them first and identify, and that would basically know right then and there if they're old enough or not.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you had, owner allowed you to have some sort of judgment call to see whether you thought they were over 21 or not. Is that part of the training?
ID anyone who comes into the store, whether they look old or not, but I just happen not to ID them.
Okay, so your training is that you were trained to ID everyone regardless of what
Yes.
you thought you were, okay. Can you describe what other training that owner gave you? Is it most pretty much verbal instruction to you saying, just card everyone? Is that it?
Can't think of any at the moment.
Okay, like no training regarding looking at ID and,
Well, that's what was in the training, looking at the ID and looking at the date of their birth and
okay,
looking at when it expires and things like that.
okay, thanks.
So Mr. Birch, I guess I'm curious if, I mean, if your training is check ID, let me ask it this way. You typically make it a habit of checking the ID of all the sales?
For the most part, yes.
For the most part?
The ones after I got to know the customer who comes in, because we mainly have the same customers who come in every day. And after I got to know them, I realized I don't have to check their ID because they're either above age or not.
Sure. Okay. That's fair. But any new customers,
Yes, I mostly check their ID.
And then so, Yeah, I mean, I guess, again, if if your training says do it, my only concern is just that, you didn't this time.
Yes, sir.
And you understand why that's important?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are you done?
Yes, sir, I am.
Barbara?
No questions.
Richard?
No questions.
Okay. Do you have anything else offered? No. Okay. So we're going to roll into the penalty phase. And do I have a motion for a penalty?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
So based on the facts presented and the testimony received of the above individual, Clayton Patrick Birch, who sold alcohol to an individual under the age of 21 years of age in violation of 6 TAC 304 of the Alcohol Beverage Article and Annotated Code of Maryland and 5.04J of the Rules and Regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's County. I make a motion to penalize Mr. Birch $100.
Okay, we have a motion to penalize $100. Do we have a second? We do not? Okay, so that motion doesn't pass. So do we have another motion?
I make a motion to penalize for the amount of $150, which is a maximum penalty of $500. But given your circumstances, I think 150 is more in order.
So we have a motion for 150.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second. Okay, we have a first and a second.
I can't hear him.
We have a first from Richard Shen, a motion for a penalty of $150. We have a second from Mr. Watts.
Thank you.
Now discussion.
So I'll continue to reiterate, I think $150 is too much for an individual, particularly, again, this gentleman obviously has lost his job as a result of this, which is in some ways a penalty, a significant penalty in of itself. And again, it's certainly had some distractions, made a mistake, and yes, he knew his training. Yeah, he failed to follow that training. But again, I think $150 for an individual is just too much for a first offense. So I'll stand by that.
Richard, do you have anything to say?
No, not at this form.
Okay. Barbara?
I'm good.
So I'm actually on the other side of the fence and say that it's not enough. Mr. Birch has admitted that he did it on his own. He decided he wasn't going to ask. He thought that she could be 21, maybe, or 22, since they were in grade school together. And it was a bad decision. He knew he had the resources to do the job right. He's been trained how to do the job right. And he chose on his own, made a decision for himself that I'm not going to do it. Was involved in a conversation with somebody which distracted him, which probably was a mistake. And on top of that, he brings harm to his employer, who entrusted him in doing the job. And now they're here today, taking their precious time to have to come to this hearing as well. So.
Well, and based on his testimony, though, that conversation that distracted him led him to believe.
Yes, but his math was wrong.
Well, I understand that.
So anyway.
But it definitely seems like it in my mind, it seems like it was a mitigating circumstance that right, the law isn't that we have to check IDs. The law is to make sure that persons are over the age of 21. And if the circumstances such that led the individual to make that assumption, right, again, he failed, he messed up, right, which is why I do feel he deserves a penalty. He had the training, but it seems like there was mitigating circumstances that, you know, led him to believe that, you know, that kind of distracted him in a, let me say this, that distracted him in a fashion such that he felt it was okay.
There's always mitigating circumstances to any and every case.
No, I disagree, but.
So anyway, we have a first, we have a second. Any more discussion?
No.
All in favor of the $150? Say aye.
Aye.
And I'm nay.
I'm opposed.
You're opposed to it too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's 2-2.
Fails.
Fails. Going to motion again?
How do you, maybe I'm confused. How do you second?
How do you second
it?
something?
You can. It's because he wanted to have the discussion.
Oh, I
Correct.
see. Okay.
I can second the motion. I just don't have to agree with the vote.
It's up to you two.
Barbara?
I feel like the 150 was fair enough. I don't think it should be anything less. I really don't. So,
Do you think it should be more? Just kind of where Mr. Mullenberg is going.
first offense, young guy, probably was taken by the young lady, maybe, I don't know, I'm looking at that side of it, so, you know, just a mistake. Yeah, it was a mistake, but you can't continue to make mistakes. You got to do what you're supposed to be trained to do, so, I don't know. I still think the 150, so, you know, I'm going to stick with that, so.
Okay. We have a motion again for 150. Do we have a second?
You make another motion for the same.
Did we make a motion, or was that?
She just made a motion.
You did make a
She
motion.
said she's sticking with 150, yeah.
Oh, okay. I second that.
First, second, any other discussion?
So again, obviously we have to have punitive, punitive issues for when licensees and clerks make a mistake, right? I mean, again, and I'm with this board that we don't want people making mistakes because it can be potentially costly in lots of regards. But at the same time, at the end of the day, we want to ensure that this sort of thing doesn't continue to happen. And I'm of the belief that, based on the testimony that was presented, that this individual, given the same circumstances, is not likely to make that mistake again. And so whether the being here before us and losing his job is already in some ways punitive enough. I don't know that I see the difference between whether we penalize him $100 or $150, what that's going to do, whether that's going to make him any less likely or more likely to repeat the incident. So that's the end of my discussion.
Okay.
So from my perspective, Rick, this is just between the committees. We've got a subcommittee, we need to complete that matrix. But right now, current guidance is this maximum penalty of $500, and general guidance is the first offense is $250. So we have already, from my standpoint, have given leniency to your special circumstances from $250, usually, which is the first offense, which is 50% of the maximum penalty, down to $250 to $150. We think that, I believe the 100 is a little bit too low for an offense. Realize it was circumstantial, and I sympathize with that. People make mistakes, but regardless, the violation occurred, and and there's a cost associated with that. Okay, so that's, since, Rick, you're describing that, I'm countering your description to that.
Okay, we've had final discussion. So the motion's for a $150 fine. All in favor? Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Watts opposes. The rest are yes. Mr. Birch, you have 10 days to pay the fine, and you may, within 30 days from today, appeal the decision to the Circuit Court of St. Mary's County. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Very good. You can go see Susie Dean over there, okay?
Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck, Mr. Birch.
Okay, as our other two,
Move on to the licensee.
pardon me?
Why don't you just go ahead and do the
I
licensees?
know, I'm going to, I figure, I was wondering were the other ones here yet, though. Did we get a hold of them?
Yes, they just walked in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, Joseph M. Ridgel and Karen D. Ridgel. Sale of alcoholic beverages to a person under the age of 21 in violation of 6-304 of the Alcoholic Beverage Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and 5.04J of the Rules and Regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's County. Please be sworn in.
Okay. Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Yes. Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Joseph Ridgel, 17425 Friendly Way, Dameron, Maryland.
Karen Ridgel, 17425 Friendly Way in Dameron, Maryland.
Okay, please have a seat.
Did this event occur?
Yes.
Yes. Do we need a response? We need a response from you. Did the event take place?
I'm a little hard of hearing.
Did the event take place? Did the sale actually take place?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The facts underlying this violation are as follows. On August 23rd, 2022, at approximately 6:15 p.m., St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office Alcohol Enforcement Unit sent a Sheriff's Office cadet, 18 years of age, into Ridgel's Bay Mart, located at 16591 Three Notch Road in Ridge, Maryland, wearing jeans and an athletic shirt and without any identification. Once inside, the cadet retrieved one 12-ounce can of Monaco Black Raspberry Cocktail and proceeded to the checkout counter. The cadet placed the alcoholic beverage on the counter for purchase, where the clerk, later identified as Mr. Clayton Patrick Birch, proceeded with the sale. Mr. Birch failed to ask the cadet for any identification for proof of age. The cadet completed the purchase of the alcoholic beverage and exited the licensed premise with the alcoholic beverage. The cadet thereafter made contact with Corporal Patrick Handy and Deputy Stephen Myers of the Alcohol Enforcement Unit outside the licensed premise. The cadet described the sale of the alcoholic beverage to the unit members and advised that the clerk had not asked for any identification. Thereafter, Corporal Handy and Deputy Myers entered the licensed premise, identified themselves, and informed Mr. Birch that he had sold an alcoholic beverage to an underage Sheriff's Office cadet without asking for identification or proof of age. Mr. Birch admitted that he had not asked the cadet for any identification. Mr. Birch was informed by the officers that an offense report would be completed and that he and the licensees would be issued summons to appear before this board. Photographs of the beverage were taken by the officers and placed into evidence, and the alcoholic beverage disposed of. All of this occurred in St. Mary's County, Maryland.
Thank you, Mr. Beaver. So you guys have any explanation of what happened? And
Now, we, ever since we've been there, any employee that we hire is shown the handbook right off the bat for the rules and regulations. They're counseled almost daily on checking IDs and the consequences of not checking the IDs, because we had no intent whatsoever to ever sell any tobacco or alcohol to any minor. That's never been our intent. We've been there just about 8 years. This is our first offense. The other employees that were there told me that when the cadet come in, that he did know her, and his objective was to talk to her and get a phone number. And he failed.
We weren't there that day
Yeah,
it
we weren't there.
happened, but we went, as soon as we got the call, we had to go down there.
Yeah, we went down there. He was terminated immediately.
Yes, we terminated his position.
Did you have a manager of some sort on staff that was there that day?
Not a so-called manager. We had someone that was pretty much in charge. She was actually in the back. She was working the deli, because we have a deli as well, and she was cooking back there.
Okay. Can you just, I guess, so you said you provide them with the training and the handbook. What other sort of, I guess, guidance do you have in the establishment?
I mean, we
things
have
at the point of
the
sale, for
signs everywhere, not to sell tobacco or alcohol to any individual under 21 or without a ID. You can be, that's one of the biggest problems we face in this business. Somebody comes in there, they can be 55, 60 years old. When you ID them, and believe me, you need to be around the corner sometimes to listen to what you have to listen to. We're 55, we're 56 years old. We constantly tell people, it's not your age. You have to have that ID. And it's a daily event. And we talk to our employees all the time about it, and some of the times they don't even want to deal on certain people, because every time, the individuals come in there, they're very harassing to the employees in the establishment.
Sure.
I'm quite sure you've heard it before, but with the people that you hire today and the people that you can get to hire, it's a full-time thing. You can counsel them, you can scold them, you can give them days off, and they've got a mind of their own, and when they're going to do what they want to do, no matter how much you train them. It's a very hard business.
Yes. And so it is your policy, it sounds like, to clarify what you said, your policy is the ID, 100% ID.
Yes.
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 And then do you have, when you do that training for the ID, do you train your employees on what to look for on the ID?
Yes, to make sure that, all the dates are there and no malfunctions. There's even copies of the, IDs that, they look at, because there is different ones. I mean, I've had people come in and they want to show me their ID on their phone. I'm like, no, that's not ID. That's a copy of ID. So it's, we do everything we can possibly do to, prevent this incident from happening, but unfortunately, it happened.
Do you have, you have any sort of aids, if you will, at the point of sale to help the employee to know what to look for or what dates to look for?
I mean, they know to look. We have a scale right by the register that tells the minimum age someone has to be, to be 21 or older.
There's a date. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Date log right beside it. It's and of course it goes by that date. Not the day before, not the day after. That date. That it has to match that date or older to know that they're over 21 years of age.
Okay. And how many employees do you?
5.
5. And they all receive the same training?
Yes.
Okay.
And they all know the consequences if they do. It's a hard thing to have to do, but you got to look at it from both standpoints. If we allow that, and then we come here as we are, and that employee is not terminated, then it's like you kind of brush it to the side, and you can't do that. You can't brush it to the side. He's an adult. He has to learn, just as if it was me or my wife or whoever. I hope I never do. It's one of those things. But I've seen different things, and there are trying times that you got people everywhere, and it just it's supposed to be, you're supposed to check them before you do anything, and sometimes they can get something else and then ask for it, but, if you sell it to them and then, even though you've asked for that ID and it's too late, it's too late. So there's, like I said, it's a hard business, to maintain.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for your testimony. I had no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Barbara?
No questions?
Richard?
Nope, I'll make a motion.
I got one other question. During your operation, the owners were cooperative and,
During the operation,
well, once you
confronted the
Yeah.
clerk? Yes, he was very respectful, and he explained the situation of having a conversation, but it was kind of like he was telling me that he knew her from school, and my obvious response was, how old are you? And he said 19, and I said that should have been your automatic thought process to ask for the ID. If you're 19 and you went to school with her, then it was common sense to ask her for an ID.
Yes. Thank you.
Maybe one question I might have is, so given you've done your best and so forth, going forward, can you think of anything else that you could implement or do to prevent this from happening again?
Not really. I mean, we like I say, we tell them every day, every time that someone comes in there, and my key thing is, I tell them, I said, if you see somebody who's not driving, that's the number one reason to check that ID. If you know they're over 21 or you don't know they're over 21 and they're walking or riding a bike, there's a good chance they don't have ID. If that person comes in and strikes up a conversation with you like they know you and they don't know you, you better check their ID, because they're looking for a way to get what they want and get out the door. So like I say, it's, other than to be there yourself all the time, it's a hard, like I say, you can train and train and train, but when you're not there, things happen.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, we'll move into the penalty phase. Anybody have a motion for penalty?
Yes, I'll make a motion for a penalty of $1,000 with a $500 abeyance for a period of 3 years. So that's $500 to you, and it'll be additional $500 if there's another violation within the next 3-year period. So it's a maximum fine. Penalty is $1,000, so you'll be basically penalized 50% of that for the first incidents, with $500 held in abeyance.
So $1,000 total?
It's 500.
100?
Yeah, with another 500 held in abeyance in case
Okay.
you have another violation within the next 3 years, then you will have to pay that balance, another $500, that balance.
Fine.
I got you.
Plus another fine, right?
And I believe we also have to put rest on them as well.
Yes. And I think you need to
Rest
ask.
is mandatory.
Yeah,
Rest is mandatory.
right, and include RAS training as a mandatory requirement as well.
That would be for both of you.
Second.
Well, I have a question. We have two people here,
2 licensees.
2 licensees. So it's $500 apiece.
No.
No, for the,
That's what I'm trying to,
Business.
that's right. I just wanted
Yep,
to clarify this.
yep.
Okay? Okay. So can you reframe your motion so that you include
Okay.
the RAS training?
Okay, so I'll make a motion for penalty of $1,000 with 500 held in abeyance within the next 3-year period, and also include RASP training for the licensees,
That would be for both.
for both of you, right?
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a first, we have a second. Any further discussion?
No, just I applaud the licensee for all of their efforts. Sounds like they're trying their best to do everything they can to ensure that their employees are properly trained and that there's information, right in front of their face at the point of sale to ensure, that it's done and done properly. They clearly take this seriously, terminating the employee on the spot, and then obviously their cooperation in being here. So that's the only conversation I have.
Okay. Any other? Okay, we have a first, second, discussion is closed. All in favor? Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the ayes have it. You have 10 days to pay the fine, and you may, within 30 days from today, appeal the decision to the Circuit Court of St. Mary's County. You can go over and see Mrs. Dean.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You can
Okay.
give us a call if you have any questions.
Tacos Hacienda. Ezekiel Herrera. The above individual, Ezekiel Herrera, was an employee of a license holder and sold or provided alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21 years in violation of 6-304 of the Alcoholic Beverage Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and 5.04J of the Rules and Regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's. Please swear him in, sir.
Yes, sir. Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Ezekiel Herrera, address is 21762 Saratoga Drive, Park, Maryland.
Okay, please come forward and have a seat.
So, Mr. Herrera, did this event take place?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Mr. Beaver?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the facts underlying this violation are as follows. On July 26, 2022, at approximately 4:40 p.m., the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office Alcoholic Enforcement Unit sent a Sheriff's Office cadet, 18 years of age, into Tacos Hacienda, located at 20975 Point Lookout Road in Callaway, Maryland, with no identification in her possession. The cadet entered the premise and sat at a table with Corporal Andrew Holton. Both the cadet and Corporal Holton were dressed in civilian attire. The cadet ordered an alcoholic beverage, specifically a 12-ounce can of Corona Extra beer, from a server later identified as Mr. Ezekiel Herrera. Mr. Herrera asked the cadet for identification. However, the cadet stated that she did not have her identification with her. Despite failing to provide proof of age, Mr. Herrera proceeded to serve the cadet with the alcoholic beverage. Thereafter, Corporal Handy and Deputy Myers entered the establishment and made contact with Mr. Herrera. The officers identified themselves and informed Mr. Herrera that he had sold an alcoholic beverage to an underage Sheriff's Office cadet without asking for identification. Mr. Herrera admitted to not verifying the cadet's age prior to service. Mr. Herrera was informed by the officers that an offense report would be completed and that he and the licensee would be issued summonses to appear before this board. Photographs of the alcoholic beverage were taken by the officers and placed into evidence. All of this occurred in St. Mary's County, Maryland.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Do you have any explanation of what happened on this day?
No real explanation. I was by myself that day, it was kind of rushing. That's around the time all the people come in. I just thought, since she's with an adult escort who I assume to be her father, he would tell me if she's not of age. But that wasn't the case. It was just an honest mistake on my part.
You didn't ask her at all? Or you did ask her, and she told you?
Ask her prior?
Yes, that's...
Thought she was going to get up to go get it from the car, but I just thought it's fine. But no, it's not.
Right, I would think that if I asked somebody for it and they didn't provide it, that would be a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Was it busy?
I had a party out in our reservation room. that I had to get to and a couple to-go orders to pack up. I was the only employee there at the moment.
Okay. What time of the day was it?
This around like 4 to 4:50.
4, okay. How long have you worked there?
About like 3 years, I'd assume.
3 years. Okay. And why were you absent today when we called you up the first time?
I can't drive, and I live with the licensee, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your age is?
19.
19. Okay.
Are you still employed with Tacos Hacienda?
Yes.
Read the statute.
Just clarification, you said you did ask for the ID and then didn't follow through, or did you, because what I heard testimony from this side was that you never asked for ID, which is, what is your story there?
No, the escort that was there,
Yeah.
when the officers came in, I told them I did ask. I just didn't wait. They thought I was lying until the escort officer did confirm I did ask, but I just didn't follow through on actually waiting for the physical ID, which was my mistake.
Okay,
As I understand, based on the facts that were read, you asked for the ID. Can we verify, right? You asked for the ID, and she said or the cadet said that they did not have it, correct? Or did they say that it was in the car? They just said that he did not have it?
No, they didn't have it.
They didn't have it. Okay, so that's where your mistake was, right? And not ensuring. Did the other person that was with them order an alcoholic beverage, or just the one person?
Just the one person. Afterwards, the adult paid for it.
Okay, but only the one person ordered the beverage?
Yes.
Okay, and upon failing to provide the ID, you served them the beverage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Barbara?
No questions.
Richard?
I'm trying to understand the scenario here a little bit. So when the cadet comes in and orders alcohol beverage, does she come in alone, or does she? I'm trying to understand what the adult is here.
They both came in.
They
So
went in.
there's another.
The facts are they came in together and they sat at the table together.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought they would be like father and daughter. That was my thought process.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Can you explain so you've been there for 3 years. Can you explain what sort of training you've been provided? Benny?
No formal alcoholic training. So, yeah.
So you've not had any training whatsoever from your employer on what to check for?
They do tell me what to look for on the ID, and they do tell me that I could only serve it, like not pour or open it or nothing, which I didn't do. All I did was serve it.
Sure.
Yeah. That's about it.
Did you have this discussion or this training happen 3 years ago when you were hired, or is there any sort of recurrence in that training?
No, only when I was about like 18 and a half. I've only recently started serving about last year.
Okay.
I'm confused. So your training on serving alcohol was done when? The periodicity of it, how often?
No, it wasn't nothing formal. They just told me what to look for on the ID if they do ask for a beverage.
Everybody, or just if they look young?
Everyone, yeah.
Everybody, okay.
Is that, so I know you said no formal training, but was that documented anywhere? Was there, something you had to sign as an employee, or it was just your manager that said, hey, this is what I want you to look for?
Basically, they just told me what to look for. It wasn't nothing documented or anything.
Okay. Thank you.
So you say you've been there 3 years?
Yes.
So you haven't been serving the whole 3 years, you just started serving like the last year? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, around last year. Previously, I was a busboy taking out the food cashier.
All right, that clarifies that then.
Any other questions? None? Okay, we'll move on to the penalty phase. We have a motion for a penalty.
I'll make a motion, a penalty of $150. It's a first-time offense. Maximum fine of $500 and reduced to $150.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a second. Discussion. No discussion? Okay, with that said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One opposed? Mr. Watts? 3 ayes. Okay, you have 10 days to pay the fine. And you may, within 30 days from today, appeal this decision to the Circuit Court of St. Mary's County. Do you understand?
Yes.
You can go see Mrs. Dean over there. Okay, thank you. Tacos Hacienda, Savannah R. Herrera, sale of alcoholic beverages to a person under the age of 21 in violation of 6-304 of the Alcoholic Beverage Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and 5.04J of the Rules and Regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's County. Swear in, please.
Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Savannah Herrera. My address is 2762 Saratoga Drive, Lexington Park, Maryland.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please come forward and have a seat.
So do these events take place?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Beaver?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the facts underlying this violation are as follows. On July 26, 2022, at approximately 4:40 p.m., the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office Alcohol Enforcement Unit sent a Sheriff's Office cadet, 18 years of age, into Tacos Hacienda, located at 20975 Point Lookout Road in Callaway, Maryland, with no identification in her possession. The cadet entered the premise and sat at a table with Corporal Andrew Holton. Both the cadet and Corporal Holton were dressed in civilian attire. The cadet ordered an alcoholic beverage, specifically a 12-ounce bottle of Corona Extra beer from the server, later identified as Mr. Ezekiel Herrera. Mr. Herrera asked the cadet for identification. However, the cadet stated that she did not have identification with her. Despite failing to provide proof of age, Mr. Herrera proceeded to serve the cadet with the alcoholic beverage. Thereafter, Corporal Handy and Deputy Myers of the Alcohol Enforcement Unit entered the establishment, made contact with Mr. Herrera. The officers identified themselves and informed Mr. Herrera that he had sold an alcoholic beverage to an underage Sheriff's Office cadet without asking for identification. Mr. Herrera admitted to not verifying the cadet's age prior to service. Mr. Herrera was informed by the officers that an offense report would be completed and that he and the licensee would have to appear before this board. The photographs of the alcoholic beverage were taken and admitted into evidence. All this occurred in St. Mary's County, Maryland.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So, want to explain anything? Do you have any additional details?
I have only been told what was happened. I was not there. I have another job, and I was on my way to the restaurant when this occurred. I arrived just as the unit arrived to deal with the situation. So I didn't even know what was going on when I walked in the door, so.
Okay. Do you agree with the statement that he's not had any formal education in alcohol sale and that he's only been trained once in his 3 years of working there?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I don't spend much time in the restaurant. I go in like maybe once or twice a week, to do the liquor order and beer order, and then on occasion I'll stop by and get food, but for the most part, I'm almost never there. We do keep the guidebook in the bar as well as offer tips training on the restaurant's payroll to all waiters every year, but whether they take the class or not is up to them. We do not enforce that.
Well, that's unfortunate, maybe for you today.
Yes.
You are the licensee, and ultimately you're responsible for the the sale of this alcohol and to keep it out of the hands of somebody that shouldn't have it.
Yes, unfortunately.
So it's a big responsibility, and someday if you read the newspaper and say, wow, we sold that beer to those kids and they're dead, I take this very seriously. So anyway, with that said, questions?
Yes.
Good. Richard, go ahead.
Can you describe your role a little more about as a licensee, your role with that restaurant? And if what I heard is correct, you're somewhat, you order alcohol and stuff like that, but you're not involved in the operation of the business. Who is running the operation and ensuring that this alcohol sales are being enforced correctly?
The owner runs the restaurant to an extent, but my husband, the manager, does most of the actual operations in the store, usually.
And the owner is?
Jose Herrera Garza.
And he's not licensee, and is he local, or?
I'm sorry?
Is he local? Like, does he live around here? Okay.
He has 3 restaurants, and he tries to divide his time equally between the ones down here, but he also has 2 out of St. Mary's County that he also tries to divide his time between.
Okay.
So your operations manager, or whatever their title is, were they present that day?
No, we share a vehicle, and he had gone to pick me up from work and was on his way back. It usually only takes 15, 20 minutes to pick me up and head back. I don't work far, but
Was there any other employee there aside from Mr. Ezekiel Herrera?
not to my knowledge, not at the moment.
So you left a 19-year-old in charge of the alcohol and running your business?
I guess.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of decision-making power in the restaurant. I'm mostly just a name.
Well, I understand that, but as Chairman pointed out, right, you are the licensee, so that responsibility does fall square on you as far as some of that decision-making that needs to be made, right?
I try, yeah.
Okay. So can you describe can you describe what sort of training operation does exist for your employees?
Like I said, when we hire someone new, we do explain to them and show them the guidebook, and we keep the guidebook in the bar for reference. It's right next to our bar computer, right amongst all the alcohol, easily findable. And we do offer the tips classes, but we don't enforce that. But other than that, when I am in there, if I do see people drinking, if I happen to be in the bar, I'm ask the waiter every time, did you check the ID? They've never told me no, but I have no way to.
Yeah. So your establishment has a bar?
Yes, correct.
That has open alcohol, like mixed drinks and things of that nature?
Correct.
Okay. And it's a restaurant, yeah, just making sure. And again, you left a 19-year-old.
To my knowledge, that is what happened. There was supposed to be another waiter there, but apparently he did not show up on time.
Okay.
Do you have something to say, Tammy?
I think you need to ask your enforcement coordinator a question.
Sergeant, do you have anything to add for this case?
In reference to your question posed to her about how many.
If you're giving testimony, you need to be sworn in, sir.
Oh.
He's not also an officer of the court?
Huh?
He's not considered an officer of the court?
He's giving testimony, I mean, so he needs to be sworn in.
He's a lawyer. No, I trust you, I'm just clarifying.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Do you hereby declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Also, can you please state your name and address for the record?
Deputy Stephen Meyer, St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office, Alcohol Enforcement Coordinator.
Okay.
In reference to the question posed to the young lady of how many employees were there, when I confronted the server, I actually saw her behind the bar, and there was probably 2 other individuals behind the bar. I guess we were a distance away. I didn't know what her title was for the business, but she had like blurted out, he didn't pour the drink for him, and that was kind of odd to me because it was a bottle of beer that was ordered. So of course she didn't know what the situation was at the time, but there was more employees at least there than what has been stated. I don't know what their functionality is with the business, but from my observation, there was definitely more employees there, and she was there when I was there.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Myers? Do you have anything else?
No, he was a polite young man, but I had told him, whether it's advice or not, when you ask for an ID and are told I don't have it with me, you need to follow through with that and ask for the ID or refuse the sale. And that was period. Don't just say, oh, don't worry about it. Continue with your efforts, because that's what the business is all about, and it keeps the licensees out of here.
Yes. Any other questions? Richard?
I have just one more thing to say.
Okay.
And just going back to the amount of employees, if my cadet had ordered a mixed drink, then who was there, per your statement, to mix that drink?
Oh, he would have had to refuse until either me or one of the others showed up. One of the kitchen staff, who is an elderly gentleman, opened the beer for him.
I think that I was just advised.
I know, that was
Oh, I'm
directed
sorry.
at you.
They have to ask you the question, not me.
My apologies. I'd never done this before, so I didn't really know the etiquette.
So, anyway. Any more questions?
Give me just a moment, Mr. Chairman. My apologies.
It's fine. There's nothing to apologize about. You have all the time to sit there and decide what you want to say and what.
Yeah, I can make a motion on this one.
Okay.
If I may. So, based on the, where'd our attorney disappear to? Based on the facts presented and the testimony given for the violation of the licensee Savannah Herrera for the sale of alcoholic beverage to a person under the age of 21 in violation of 6 TAC 304 of the Alcohol Beverages article in the Annotated Code of Maryland, and 5.04J of the Rules and Regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Board of St. Mary's County. I recommend a penalty of $1,000, nothing held in abeyance, and RAST training.
Okay, we have a motion for $1,000, nothing held in abeyance, and RAST training. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. Discussion?
Yes. If I can make a recommendation to you, you need to get some documented training to your employees. You need to make sure that you don't have anybody 18 years or under the age of 21 with the ability to, so they can be 18 and serve, yes, right? But they have to be over 21 to be able to serve mixed drinks. And so you had an open bar, you left, a 19-year-old, in response to your establishment.
Just technically, he can't open a beer either.
No, he
Correct.
didn't. One of the elderly kitchen staff opened it for him.
So he was not alone.
No, the kitchen staff were there, but they don't really have anything to do with the front for the most part.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, so that's why it's such a hefty fine, because I feel like, and to the members of the board, right, that's why I'm making such a hefty fine, because I don't feel like this licensee takes, based on the actions that have been presented, I don't feel like they've taken it seriously enough, and hence my recommendation for such a hefty fine.
Okay. I would like, can we, well, he's gone now. I argue that I don't think it's enough.
Your
maximum.
1,000.
I understand that. There's other options too, besides money.
We can suspend the license.
I have a concern about the control of the alcohol in the establishment, period. And the licensee, which often's the case, doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with the business. But in this case, there's just so many I don't knows. There's the disagreement from what Myers has stated happened and the testimony of the licensee in the beginning. And there's just, it's very cloudy to me. And I don't have a good feeling that the business has a hold on what they need to be doing. And especially when you're talking about training, it just doesn't seem that it's at the level that most businesses are when you're talking about restaurants. So I'm good with $1,000, but I would like to see a 3-day suspension of the license also. So they can sit back and they can conduct training and take the time to sit there and say, okay, we're going to take this serious. We're going to have we can have meetings or whatever. They give them I want them to have 3 days to be able to take a breather and try to fix it, instead of just walking out of here with a $1,000 fine that has to be paid within 10 days and business as usual.
I would agree with that.
Business can't be as usual anymore. Okay. So that's my.
So I agree. But so, Tammy, and I wish Mr. Beavers was still here. So
Yeah, to go to court.
I understand. So my recommendation, Mr. Chairman, because we've made a motion and we seconded it, that we vote on that motion and oppose, and then I can amend and make a new motion to
That would be clean way. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we have a first, we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor of the initial motion? Say aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, opposed have it. First motion didn't pass.
So I'll make an amended motion.
New motion.
A new motion, correction, thank you. So a new motion, which will be $1,000 fine, plus a 3-day suspension of the license.
Plus RAS.
Plus RAS training.
And the suspension of license effective, do we need an effective date, or how does that work?
You can set an effective date. Usually it's immediately, but
Do you need time to get notified and all that?
I think immediate.
she's notified right now.
She's notified right now, yep. I think immediate is,
So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yep.
So it would start
Now.
now, 3
Yep.
o'clock,
Yep, 1,500 today to
days? All right.
1,500 Sunday, right?
Okay, so you have your motion. Did you get a second?
not yet.
Not yet.
I'll second that.
We have a first, we have a second. Any other discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, it's unanimous. We don't take this lightly.
I have been going into the restaurant more often since it happened and made my presence more active and tried to be more involved since it happened. But unfortunately, like I said, I do have a different job and I can't be there in the mornings. And I'm also pregnant, which means I have doctor's appointments in a lot of evenings and some high risk. But
Yes,
I have been trying to.
So the management needs to fix this and make life better for everybody.
Yeah. So, so I think this thing here is, it's about for you to really understand what the responsibility of licensee is, right?
Yes.
So if you cannot perform that duty
16.
to make sure that the establishment can abide by the rules that's set, then you need to inform the owner or the management to say, okay, we have to figure out how to make this work so that that establishment can enforce the law. Because you can't serve to a minor, and I'll tell you, the last thing you want is, say, minor gets served, and something happens and get sued. That the owner's going to lose that business, right? You don't want that from his perspective, you know, you don't want that to happen. So, I think this is the right thing. They need to step back and figure out, okay, how do we, as an establishment, how do we go about ensuring that we are complying by the law and enforce that? So
Yes, sir.
That's what it's about.
You got that.
So Savannah, you have 10 days to pay the fine, and you may, within 30 days from today, appeal the decision to the Court of St. Mary's County. Do you understand?
Sir.
You can go see Susan. Thank you.
And one more thing, I think you need to tell them immediately that they can't serve alcohol starting now.
Oh, they'll know.
Or,
They'll know.
Outside the court doors, I'm making a phone.
okay, all right.
Mr. Hall will take care of that.
Yeah.
Or you might want Mr. Myers to post, you mean?
Yeah, post.
Usually it's deputy.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I do need to.
Yes, sir.
If that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck. Hope they win.
Okay, we're going to move into the Board Administrator report. Tammy?
No, you have a
License change.
a licensee change.
Oh,
Please.
yes. Sorry, my scribbling's all over top of it.
Gotcha.
Here.
Okay. Licensee changes. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar, removing Cheryl Morris and adding Bonnie Phillips.
On here.
Any objections to that? Do we have a vote?
You need a motion.
Yes. Do we have a motion?
What?
Did you hear it? Okay, we'll do this again. Sorry. License changes. Applebee's Neighborhood Bar and Grill and Bar, removing Cheryl Morris and adding Bonnie Phillips as a licensee.
Okay, I make a motion for a license change at Applebee Neighborhood Grill and Bar to removing Cheryl Morris, that's the previous license owner, okay. Okay, so remove Cheryl Morris and add Bonnie Phillips.
Correct. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. We got all that, Susie?
Yeah.
Okay.
But who seconded the last one? I was up with Tammy.
I've got that. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now we'll go into the Board Administrator report. Tammy?
Okay, I was away last week, or last weekend, most of last week, I guess. So not much going on. People are still pumping in applications. We are coming upon renewal season, so we'll be prepping that stuff. The renewals will go out in January. Legislation would have been put in by now. I didn't get anything back from the board, so we didn't put anything in. I do need to forward some legislation that did go through, some explanations. The Alcohol Tobacco Commission did do a summary of the legislation that was passed. They do a nice little summary putting together each of the jurisdictions. Again, questions at the MELA bi-weekly meeting, which I missed, but Susie had got, was mostly on residents, because they keep, for a while there, you didn't have to be a resident of the county, that you had a license in for about 6 months, and then the Supreme Court changed their minds, or they had annihilated that, but some county put in to reestablish that. So now we have this, as soon as they hand in the application, you have to have at least one St. Mary's County resident. It muddies the waters. We have a couple of licenses that are grandfathered in from that 6-month period of not having a resident licensee. And I kind of like that personally, because it made it very transparent and clean, and I knew who the owners were, and there weren't somebody just from the county on the license just because they need it. So, but that was the gist of the discussion, because there are other counties who are finding that very difficult, especially those counties that border other states, and they have owners that are from those other states. So, but other than that, the advisory committee for the penalty matrix has met twice, so they're working out, or trying to work out. There's no perfect system, folks. I mean, it is what it is, okay? You know, you do the best you can with what you're given, and you hope it makes an impact at the end of the day.
So should we have a motion to extend the period because the due date?
Was next month, right?
We going to get there in time, or?
I would
Yes, I
ask.
just talked to Rick as he was working at, and I told him, let's get her done.
Okay, so you think you'll get busy, but you'll think, well, because we don't have a date, we
He's
all
been the
meet.
short end of the stick, all
Okay.
right? So I'm going to pressure him.
Okay, well, we will, you guys need to get to me about your next date to meet, okay?
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind, you and Mr. Watts can work something out there?
Okay. Anything else, Tammy?
No.
That's it? Okay. Alcohol Enforcement Coordinator Report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
In reference to last month, we completed 17 business checks for alcohol compliance, 15 of which were found to be in compliance with Maryland law, and unfortunately 2 businesses failed to ask for any identification. This time we utilized a correctional officer that is underage from our own jail, and he is 20 years of age. He just turned 20 as of August, and very youthful face, so there's no question that people should ask for IDs. As far as the operative priorities in reference to highway safety, the Sheriff's Office arrested 17 individuals for DUI. The Maryland State Police arrested 14 for DUI. And as far as the stationary surveillance, that included shoulder tap enforcement and parking lot consumption, I visited 5 additional St. Mary's Fine Wine and Spirits, Pier 450, Courtney's Restaurant and Seafood, Point Lookout Marina, and Ridge Market and Liquor. I served 6 alcohol violation summonses, and all the parks were checked, Tees Cove, 5th District, 7th District, Myrtle Point, and Chaptico Wharf. As far as the training or meetings I attended, the CAC and the RAS training, and just verbally, the Matrix Committee meeting. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Barbara, do you have any questions for Mr. Myers? Richard, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your
Yes, sir.
service.
Thank you.
Okay. Board Inspector Report. Mr. Hall?
This month I did 17 inspections, 3 follow-ups. I did 1 inquiry where a business actually called me and asked me some questions, so I took care of that. The RAS training, and also the Alcohol Tobacco Committee Commission had a virtual meeting summit, and I attended that. So,
okay,
that's my report for the month.
Anything else? Nothing else? Okay, thank you. Oh, we have any status on the on your vehicle yet?
Hasn't been ordered, and don't know when it will be ordered.
Okay.
By the time they let me order it, we won't have enough money in the budget.
Yeah, we'll probably have a half a vehicle.
We'll have half a vehicle. Yes.
And Tammy and I do have a training Saturday. We're doing a RAS training Saturday with a business.
Yeah, we have a
One of our businesses coming in.
Set
So
up to train their staff all together and bring them in, so see how that goes on Saturday.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Community Alcohol Coalition, not here today?
No, Chris is, of course, on to other things, and Mary Ellen was injured, so she's on no drive rest, I guess you would call it. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget Joe back here.
Oh, Joe, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Beverage Assistance.
Yeah, well, I was going to do that one, actually, really. Want to come forward and talk to us? St. Mary's Licensed Beverage Association.
Yeah, we met last Tuesday, and we have new officers and kind of the changing of the guard with Gary Rogo and David Dent trying to hand it over. They've been doing it for a long time. So we're all figuring out our jobs and what we're doing. And we conducted a meeting, and we had a pretty good showing, and we're going to try to build the everything crumbled during COVID. So there's been a few, meetings since then, and we're building things back up, getting the members realizing that we still exist and we have work to do. So with the members that were there, we discussed the penalty matrix and some of the ongoing political topics. And I got some things from them that I can filter down to the committee when we talk, but.
Excellent.
That was pretty much it.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is your main, I can guess, but what is your main charter? Like, what is your objective of your group?
I mean, what?
Your charter, or what is your objective of your group?
So the objective is, I guess, just awareness with everything going on with the board. And I think David, his main objective was always what's going on in Annapolis and making sure that we know what bills are going in front of the House, who's lobbying for what the chances of our area are. And then after that, what's going on with our local board. And then after that, we're trying to add more of a social period afterwards. So what do you do if your internet goes down, or what do you do if, so-and-so during business, so.
And then maybe the second and last question, what is your participation of all the other alcohol entrepreneurs in the county in terms of being member of that, your group? Yeah.
It was mostly Leonardtown.
Okay.
The meeting was in Leonardtown. We still have to shake the trees. I think that before, I remember there was a lot of liquor store owners there. There were some mainstays that were there for a long time.
I think as far as membership, it ran about 35% of the licensees were part of this.
So it's the same thing. I'm with the business association too. I think we're trying to revamp things a little bit more to make it like, yeah, I'd like to come and talk about that. I'd like to be at that meeting to hear what they're going to say about that. So that's on us.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Just curious. I mean, for example, like, here we are. We're trying to prevent violations and things. I don't know if you guys discuss, hey, here's some suggestions, or this is what works for me. Those kind of things get shared in this group. Yeah.
Form that we're working on. That it will be your option to give to each employee when they come in, and it'll just say, I really think that there's a lack of knowledge with these employees that they come in here if they serve somebody underage. And this is I think we should pull them up on YouTube, put one of these meetings up on YouTube and have them watch it, because I don't think a lot of them realize that the end result is right here. And I think that would change a few things. And then
we're on YouTube, hon. Feel free.
The rewards system too, we're going to work on that. So I will say today, I think that as a fellow license holder, I was glad to see you guys did what you did. Anytime you see that amount of dysfunction and you know that you put everything into it that you have to put into it, I don't want to see bad upon anybody, but that was kind of like.
Yeah. So here's an example. Like I used to be a business owner and had alcohol license. I even came in here myself on that side of the table. And one of the things I implemented, because I'm a believer of the statement when it says insanity is when you expect different result doing same things over and over. Okay, everybody should know that quote. And so I remember, like, okay, what am I going to do to make sure that this doesn't happen? So one of the things I did, realizing, okay, we got kids, sometimes they don't care, right? So I'd start having more regular meetings, and then what I posted was not check the ID, which I did, but you know what I did? $500, if you fail to check, this is what you're going to have to pay up. And I posted that, and guess what? People took notice. Right. So it's awareness, and you got to repeat the training, for example. I think we need to pass, in that group, pass on to all the owners that, hey, start posting signs. This is what it means to you, Right. You get into violation, that's going to come out of your pocket, that kind of stuff. So anyways, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is you have a certain form of highway hypnosis in the business. I mean, people come, they go, they come, they go, and it gets redundant. And then you come in here and you hear the same thing over and over. People come up in front of you guys, and I just wasn't paying attention, or we've told them many times. So it's kind of nice to see a far end of a spectrum where something went completely wrong and the board all recognized it.
Yeah.
And then that way there's a precedence there that, it's not just minimal this, minimal that. It was, we recognized something completely wrong. So I thought that was good. And then, I just think it's in some ways healthy, because if you guys anything ever does happen, the worst of the worst, anybody can look at our board and say, they argue up there. They're paying. They're trying to decide what's bad and what's good.
Yeah.
So
and I heard a couple times today, we gave them employees handbook. They don't read employees handbook. They don't. Yeah, that's right. So that's not. Yeah, that's
digitally available.
Insufficient. Yeah, it's insufficient. Yeah,
they don't read it.
I believe there's also, we often see people who don't want to be confrontational with the employee. Young person sitting there and trying to sit there and serve somebody, and when they don't have the documentation, instead of going to the next step, I believe they hesitate because they don't want confrontation. Their fear of what's going to happen next when I say, well, I can't serve you, and wait somebody explode on them or something.
That happens, and you're exactly right. I do think that's a thing, and that might be an angle we can come at it with, building the confidence and the reward system and everything else. And if there's a present owner, you can, or GM or somebody who's the person, you can always just say,
watch your back.
Oh yeah, hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get him. So
That always works.
Yeah.
And that was another issue today with the last case, and not feeling that individual didn't have any backup. So.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Board member time? You guys have anything you want to talk about?
I'm gonna pressure Richard Watts to get this penalty matrix done.
If you guys need a little more time, I don't have a problem with that. But we just need to know where you guys are, and we have to move the bar just a little bit, but we want to get it done soon.
Yeah.
Just made me the chair of that.
No, he's the vice chairman, so he's the senior guy on it, so.
I mean, really how it should be done is how you did it today, If you disagree to disagree, agree to disagree.
And then compromise and move on.
And then once a situation comes in front of all of you and you all just like, what is going on here? This is not right. And you all agreed with that?
Yep.
So sometimes you just don't need
Sometimes making the guidelines too tight paints you in a corner.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you did the right protocols that are necessary to make
Mine has pretty wide wiggle room, but it has a baseline.
Like I said, you put too much in language, you make yourself subject to that language.
And I think in addition to,
Gotta be careful.
I have a pretty wide. Everybody agreed, so that's, I mean, you did it perfect.
But anyways.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the October 13th meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Chin seconds it. Any further discussion?
That's Shin.
Chin. With an S. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.